and make sure that during this process, you can ask questions at any time as part of this webinar that we're doing today. It's one of the things that we want to give back to individuals. So you can mute yourself, which all of you are, but you can unmute yourself since there's not as many. You can unmute yourself if you have any questions or put it in the chat box as well. I believe there's and Coach Cohen has actually put his information there. But long story short, once again, my name is Carl Taylor, and I'm here to host a webinar called High School Football Recruiting for the Off Season. I'm here with two individuals. Coach Harvey will be joining us in a second, but Coach Cohen is on the line. And Coach, why don't you give an introduction to yourself? And if Harvey gets on, he'll do his, and then I'll do mine.
Sure. So again, my name is Andrew Cohen, and I've been running Get Recruited Consulting for almost 11 years now. But before doing that, I was a college football coach for 22 years at schools like Columbia University, Bucknell, Fordham, Stony Brook, Hamilton, and Bowdoin. Head coach, defensive coordinator, and a position coach. But now I run Get Recruited, where we help place student athletes into college. Very rewarding, a lot of fun, a lot of hard work. But we use our contacts to the advantage of our clients, and we directly reach out to the schools and we help them put an accurate game plan together to make sure that they're looking at the right places. I can go on forever, but I think that's enough, Carl. But thank you very much for having me on the show tonight.
And then we have Coach Harvey. Harvey Scruggs is the founder and owner of Indiana Preps. They run events throughout Indiana. He just had a successful showcase this past Sunday for Martin Luther King weekend, but he had over 300 athletes attend. He also does 7-on-7 as well in the state of Indiana, and takes his team across the Midwest to get extra evaluated, as well as get athletes that are playing high school football in the state of Indiana, training and improving their skill set. My name is Carl Taylor. I'm the founder of Midwest Athletics. I host events for small colleges. My goal is to make sure that the events that I help put forth are beneficial for parents and athletes. I also had a athlete, two boys that went through the recruiting process. One decided to go in the military, while the youngest went D1. But all in all, through all three of our knowledge, we have a great knowledge of what the recruiting process looks like. It has changed. Even my youngest son, who graduated in 2019, things have changed. Quite frankly, it's gotten a little crazy. And so we're here to try to give you a little insight of the things to do, as well as if there's additional support needed, you'll have the ability to reach out to get that additional support. So the agenda as follows is, we're going to talk about recruiting timeline, myself, to kind of get you to understand what that timeline looks like. I think some people may not understand the timeline. And so it may help you understand when things happen. Coach Cohen is going to talk about what's changed in the recruiting process and give you some insight of things to do right now and any support you may need. And then if Harvey can get his computer issue fixed, he'll talk about why our showcase is important and really off-season events. He'll talk about that and give you some insight of how to improve. So with that being said, this is a diagram that you can see on the screen that talks about all the events that are happening during the recruiting process in the calendar year. You right now in January, you have your 7-on-7. You have your college junior days that are going to be coming up in in February, and March timeframe in April. And then you'll have your college high school visits, where colleges are now coming to high schools to visit student athletes. You may have seen some of them come already to visit, from D2 schools to D3 to NIA and D1 especially. And then you have National Signing Day that will start in February for the D2, D3, and Division I athletes. All this is important to understand so that you understand when things are going to take place throughout your recruiting process for your athlete. In my opinion, the recruiting process is a multi-year process. When I started with my son, we started his freshman year, and it paid off because he got the offer that he wanted to in his dream school. Ultimately, you're setting up a roadmap, in business and in work life. You always set up a timeline in the work life. You plan on going on vacation. You say, all right, we're planning on going on vacation on this date. We're going to plan on, saving up that money to get there, to get to that end point. And that's kind of what you're kind of doing. You're really just setting a timeline of when you need to do things so that way your student athlete has the opportunity and get to signing day. And that's where Coach Cohen is going to get into more of some of these areas as what to do in a lot of these areas, such as, what does a dead period mean, a quiet period mean, etc. Also, you want to know what criteria the college coaches seek in their athletes. Here's some general ideas of what they seek, from athletic ability, number one, and number two, academic performance. The first thing out of coach's mouth typically today is when they see a kid that has a skill set, what are your GPA? Have you taken an SAT or ACT? They're also looking for a character and a sportsmanship. Do you, zoot on the football field during the game? Are you zooting something that is, unsportsmanlike, yelling at your coaches, etc.? And what type of work ethic do you have? Do you work hard in practice? So it goes, so it shows in the game. And your versatility, always looking for versatility. Next month we'll have a student athlete that I've known for the last 5 years that went to all the recruiting visits from D1 to D2 to D3, ended up signing with a D2 school, got moved from linebacker to DN, was upset about it. And now he is going to be playing. He put his name in the transfer portal, and he's going to play D1 football in the fall after graduating from his D2 college. And so having that versatility from college coaches gives you the better opportunity to land somewhere else, depending upon your position. And potential development. Are you a coachable kid? And the character references. Always college coaches look for character references. One of the things that I always hear when I talk to colleges, about coming to the events that I help support and build for the colleges that I work with is, what are they looking for in a college athlete as well? And if they can't make it, what can I do to help them review on a particular athlete? And this is, coming from an Ivy League coach. My connection is with more the Patriot League and Ivy League and military academies in the D2 schools. But one of the things they know is they look at measurables. Besides the academic performance, they're looking at the measurables as well as videos that the student athlete is doing. Really position drills, not a lot of one-on-one stuff, but position drills on how will they move their feet. It's very helpful for them because they're looking for that next kid that is going to make them a conference title and it's going to be a starter for their team. So I know that was a lot of information about the timeline and what coaches and criteria are seeking. I'm going to give it over to Coach Cohen, who's going to go over what has changed in the college recruiting process today. Coach, it's up to you now.
Okay. I think a lot has changed even in the last 2 years, 4 years. Every year things are changing. But let's start with the transfer portal. The transfer portal has been out there, I think, for about 4 years where, the college players can enter the portal and they can transfer with no penalty at all, and the college coaches can contact them. So last year alone, there were 9,350 kids, college kids that were in the portal. So if you're a high school kid right now, you're not only competing against other high school players, but you're also competing against 9,350 kids that are in the portal that are more mature, that are older, and they have playing experience. So because of that, the process is starting earlier for the high school players. If you want to play major college football, it's definitely starting in 9th grade. I'd say if you want to play FCS, it's 1AA. It's more so, starting in 10th grade or end of your 10th grade year. And then, as the levels go down, it definitely starts later. But it's the portal to me has been really big. And it's also just making it so much more competitive that you're seeing kids that in the past might have gone FCS that are going Division II. So you need to start getting it after it earlier, and you need to make sure that you're reaching out to schools. That's realistically what we do. We're going to directly reach out to the college coaches for our student athletes and get real answers. You got to put a realistic plan together and then get real answers from there. I think that the video thing really that you just brought up, Coach Carl, when you brought up that kids should be making videos, that is huge, and it started probably with COVID. So not only do they want to see, drills, they want to see agility. They might want to see a 5-10-5. They might want to see an L drill. They love to see kids who can slam dunk a basketball. It shows your ability to transfer your weight. It also shows explosiveness and just overall athleticism. So the videos is definitely becoming bigger and bigger. Social media in general. Social media right now is the number one way that the college coaches are finding their student athletes. In football alone, Twitter is number one, but all social media. And they're saying right now the college coaches, over 90% of the kids they're finding on social media. And so it says right here that the electronic correspondence with you after the September 1st of your junior year. Coaches will monitor what you post, what you repost, what you like or don't like. So make good decisions. Make good decisions on who you follow, and who you're, who follows you back. And the obvious is, not everyone knows this, but if they're not following you, then they can't see your video. I have kids that have 20 followers or 50 followers or 100. It's kind of like being invisible. You need to get out there. So myself, we work with a marketing company. It's called Go MVB, and they are a marketing firm, a public relations firm that specializes in marketing the players on social media. When you combine them and us, we have over 125,000 followers. And that means every time we're posting things, thousands of coaches are seeing it. But I guess in a nutshell, what's different today is that social media is playing a vital role. And make sure when you're posting things that they really are highlights of you doing things. You're not just going to put out their average things. So anyway, that in a nutshell, those are the biggest changes, Coach, that I'm seeing. If anyone has questions or if you guys have questions, please fire away. Do you want me to talk about this right here? I see different things on the screen, real versus mass recruiting, or do you want me to wait for that?
No, go ahead. And I don't see anyone in the chat. I don't see anyone raising their hand. So keep going. If you have questions, like I said, you can take us off mute and just say, hey, I got a question, or send it in the chat, and I'll watch the chat room as it goes.
Sure. So, we like to talk about what is real, like what is actual, like the kids actually getting recruited versus mass recruiting where you're just a number. So we'll start with real recruiting occurs when you're getting personal letters. That doesn't mean just they have your name or even your position. There's details in there. There's things when you read the letter, you say to yourself, no one else could have gotten this, then it's personal. So it might say something about your parent or your dog or your coach or a big win or what number you wear, something very specific about you. And the same thing would be the case with the emails. They want it to be personal. And you also, at some point, if you're getting really recruited, you are going to get, handwritten letters for sure. Okay. So with that being said, there is a big rule change. Okay. There is a big rule change, and that's with phone calls. In Division I right now, starting the first day of classes of your junior year, the college coaches are allowed to call you. That's a new rule. Okay. Division III can call you anytime. Division II can call you spring of your sophomore year. Okay. Direct messages occur mostly on Twitter. If you start getting a direct message, that's a good start. When you start getting consistent direct message that pertain to you and only you, that's a really good thing. So that's all real. That means they're actually, in our eyes, they're really recruiting you. One phone call is not per se recruiting, but consistent phone calls is. So now the mass would become a form letter or a form email. That's a mass email where they get your name, but it's very general, and they're very easy to tell. With our clients, we ask them to send every email, every correspondence they get, and we can tell them if it's real or not. But You know, if they're not, if you can read this note and say nothing, anyone else could have gotten this letter, then anyone else did. Like 10,000, 20,000 people did. So, you know, that's when it means it's a mass email or it's a mass letter. Uh, and then camp invites, you know, the general camps, and they're just trying to bring as many people in there. You know, that's a mass camp invite. Whereas when they're really recruiting you and they like you know, then that means, you know, that's a real letter. I want to talk about Indiana Preps and just give them a little plug right now. I just was speaking to one of our clients in the Midwest, and he was really raving about how good the camps are, you know. But the great thing about a camps that they run is you're going to go to one site and get evaluated by numerous people, numerous coaches at one site. It's really the best bang for your buck. And coach is going to go into detail, but I just wanted to bring that up as a college coach. Those are the kind of camps where you can be seen by many people at one site that are most valuable, as long as you're making sure that you're reaching them before the event. The last thing that was on that page I want to cover is just what is a committable versus a non-committable offer. This is becoming big. This is something new. I used to think, hey, kid gets offered, he commits when he wants, and then he's going to that school. Right now, they're saying, oh, wait, Joe. Yeah, we offered you, but that's non-committable. That depends on you doing A, B, or C. Or that depends on, you know, hey, the other kid's committed, so now you can't commit. You know, but a committable offer means they want you and they're taking you right now, no matter what. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's important, that if you do get an offer, you ask this, is this a committable offer? So that's my piece on that.
Good point.
So what are must-dos? Well, number one, all the coaches want to see academics, right? So minimum for a Division I kid is 2.3 in the core, 2.2 in the core for Division II. No rules for Division III. It's institutional rules, and usually they're a little bit higher. You have to have a great highlight film with your best plays on first, showing your array of talents, speed, strength, change of direction, everything, not just one skill. All right. Definitely putting your best plays on first on the highlight. Okay. Correctly identify level of play. Actually, make sure that you're looking at the right schools. Everyone wants to play Division I, but when you're that 6-foot offensive lineman, no matter how good you are, you're not going Division I. So make sure you get evaluated by a professional that knows what they're doing and is going to be honest with you about what level of play. Because if not, you're going to waste a lot of time, money, and effort going to the wrong camps. Okay. And we're going to offer everyone on this, or everyone that watches it and calls us, we're offering everyone a free film evaluation. It's myself, and I have 5 other guys on staff. They're all former college football coaches. We have over 100 years of college coaching experience, and for free, we'll talk about your film, what level you are, and what you need to do to improve. So make sure you're looking at the right schools. Everyone I talk to wants to play Division I. Unfortunately, not everyone can play at that level. Okay. You want to reach out to that target list of schools, probably 25 to 35 schools. Make sure you're reaching out. That's what we do on a personal level. It is becoming very, very tough for a family to reach out to their target list and get answers. Okay. Make sure you attend the correct camp. So you go to Indiana Preps for sure, because they're going to be well run, organized, with great colleges attending. And that's a great experience for you. From there, if you go to a college camp that only has one college, a host college, before you go there, you definitely need to make sure that they have sincere interest in you. If not, you're definitely going to be wasting time, money, and effort. So I'm trying not to hog the show here, guys. That's why I'm going a little bit fast, but hopefully this is great information that all the families can use. I'm done with the must-dos. Is there another? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I got you.
You said create target schools. And I recently told a friend of mine that, hey, you know, if someone follows you on Twitter, don't be afraid to reach back out to them as soon as they follow, just introducing yourself. You know, I highly recommend that today, just so that they know, they understand you're following, that you're interested in that program. You know, that's another good way. So if you got schools following you, introduce yourself real quick. You'll start seeing how much interested they are into you as a kid. And so, and those could be your target schools, as he's stating, you know, as part of that. So I wanted to add that little tidbit, that creating that target list is very important for those who are you have a presence of where you want to go and where you want to spend your 4 years. If it isn't in the South, is it in the West, wherever it's going. So just want to add that little tidbit.
When we have a new client, we have an hour plus call, and it's a strategy call. We're teaching them all about recruiting, but when it specifically pertains to a game plan of schools that they should look at, start simple. Do you want to go to a big or a small school? Do you want to be close or far? Do you want to be in a city or the country? What do you want to major in? What is either the best offense or defense for your playing abilities? But those are definites that are simple, but you have to start with.
Yep. All right. So the next slide, you talked about this, about the requirements.
So the academic requirements in a nutshell, I went ahead of myself, but 2.3 is the core. That's equivalent to a 78 GPA. You want to go past that? I'm sorry.
No. Sorry. The button, I hit the wrong button. I got this new computer and it keeps moving. So sorry about that.
So they are using the 16 core classes. That means it doesn't count art or gym or math. So you need a 2.3 in the core classes or higher to be eligible for Division I, no matter how low or high the school is. But that doesn't mean you're going to get into the school. That's just the NCAA requirement. All right. That's not the institution's requirement. Like, just for example, schools like a William and Mary, which is FCS scholarship, they're probably going to be about a 3.3, 3.4 minimum GPA. Correct. And then you have other schools that will say, hey, as long as you qualify 2.3 for Division I, you're in. 2.2 for Division II. So that's an old slide. SAT, ACT correlates to a sliding scale. Right now, there is no SAT or ACT requirement by the NCAA. There are select schools that do still ask you to hand in SATs or ACTs. That's a school by school basis.
Yep. And I'll touch a point on that. If your kid is not a good tester, make sure that when he's having his target schools, he's selecting schools that is not requiring those exams, so that he doesn't have to take those exams. But if he is a good college exam tester, then you might want to have them take that exam, because there may be extra money available for him, and coach is going to show the difference between D1 scholarship and D2 scholarships. Go ahead, coach. Coach Cohen, you there? Did we lose you? We may have lost coach. Unfortunately, we can't hear him right now. But this is one of his slides. We talk about creating a highlight film. He said it earlier. Basically, putting your best plays forward, making sure that you have the right information on there for contact information. You don't want, the bad plays, of course. You want the plays that are going to that's going to pop off the screen for a college coach. When a coach only has so many minutes in a day to watch film, he wants to see something that's going to pop on the film that says, I want to recruit this kid. I want to evaluate him more forward. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Bo. And
wait, before you go, can you hear me? This is Coach Cohen.
Oh, there you go.
My internet went down, so I was actually impressed myself. I went right back to the phone here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now. We have a question from Bao. Bao, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Yes, I am. How you doing, Coach Cole?
Good talking to you, man.
Yes. Regarding films, what if my son, and I'm assuming a lot of other athletes around the country, who is limited on highlights and limited on film. So what do you suggest as in secondary film and third film type resources to really
what position does your son play?
He is a wide receiver.
Okay, so here's what I would do. I would do consistently posting for sure on social media, workout videos of him running routes, of him doing agility drills, of him doing explosive drills in the weight room, anything that shows his athletic ability, that shows explosiveness or speed. definitely want to show him running patterns because that will show his athleticism, but also catching the ball, obviously. And then from there, like a 5-10-5 agility or an L drill, slam dunk in a basketball, anything like in the what do they call the ladders? When
Yep.
when COVID came out, the college coaches, they weren't allowed to have kids on campus. So they relied on these videos as much as anything because they couldn't have the kids in person. So most of the time they wanted a slam dunk to show his vertical explosiveness, ability to transfer weight. They wanted it, if it was a receiver, running the patterns and catching the ball, and then anything showing speed and agility. So hopefully I answered that question.
I think you did, and I think we're on the right track on that aspect. So we are doing that in a sense. So yes, you did answer the question, and I think we're on the right track with that.
Yeah, and if
Thank
you have questions pertaining to your son specifically, I left on the chat my phone number and my I don't remember if I left my email or what.
He did. Yep.
Yes, I did see it right here. The 570. I probably will call you tomorrow.
Sure.
I could ask more specific questions regarding,
Yep.
because I believe that you were a coach in the Patriot League and the NASDAQ schools, and that's where I think he falls into right now, and that'd be a perfect phone call with you.
Sure. Yeah, call me anytime. Would love to.
Yeah, coaches
Thank
on
you.
the East Coast, and Bao and his son are from the West Coast. They're out of Culver City, California high school. So on the highlight film is where you had that question. That's where coach is talking about. Coach, can you see the screen or no?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So
your highlight film.
Yep.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, your highlight film is like your resume. So like you were already saying as I got on the call, having your accurate information at the start before your video. You know what I mean? That would mean like your cell phone, your Twitter, your email address, all your basic information. But make sure that on your actual film that you're highlighting yourself before the play. Never stop the play in mid play. Let the plays run through. They can't judge your real speed and athleticism if it freezes in the middle. Make sure that your very best plays are on first. Okay. Don't water down the film. I'd rather have 12 really, really good plays that the coaches leave there saying, wow, than watering it down and having 18. I think anywhere from 12 to 18 is fine. Okay. You want to show your range of abilities. That means, you play receiver. Yes, you want to show great hands, but you want to show speed, change of directions, ability to block. So show a range of skills no matter what position that you play. And your highlight film is going to be a key to you getting recruited.
Yep.
So a few dates here that are important. There's a quiet period. That's when the coaches are allowed to go out off campus. However, prospects may also visit their campus. All right. So I'm sorry. Coaches cannot go off campus. They can go off campus actually, but they just can't speak to the kids in person.
Right.
Okay. The dead period, coaches cannot go on the campus, nor can the prospects go on the college campus. So they're not allowed to have any contact.
And that was part of the timeline I showed earlier. And go ahead. This is different scholarship types that you were talking about earlier too, Coach. Kind of give them a little information about that.
Yeah, so head count scholarships are full ride scholarships for FBS schools only. So I'm going to make this easier. For FBS, right, that's the major colleges that you see on TV. You have 85 scholarships on the entire roster. That's what they get. All right. There's no such thing as a partial scholarship for major colleges. Okay. It's 85 and they're full or nothing. FCS gets 63 maximum. That's 1AA. They are allowed to do partials. A majority of their scholarships are full, but they have some. It's called an equivalency. They get 63 equivalency, so they can go and give partials. Okay, it says it right there. Division II is 36 equivalency scholarships. No one in Division II is giving full football scholarships. You can get a full, but it would be combined with financial aid, academic money, and football money. The majority of schools are probably more like 15 to 25 scholarships at D2. NAIA is allowed to give 24 athletic equivalency scholarships, and they also give a lot of academic money as well. Division III, no academic scholarships. Sorry, no athletic scholarships, but they do give academic money. The very high academic schools give outstanding financial aid. The Ivy League is kind of unique. They're all based upon financial need. No matter how good you are, you have your financial aid is the same as the normal kid walking off the streets. However, because their endowments are so strong, okay, their financial aid's very, very aggressive, but you do have to show a need. So that means if your family makes $1 million, no matter how good your son is, he's not getting any money from the Ivy League, and kids are not getting academic scholarships in the Ivy League either. So when
Here's a
can
little
they
bit.
expect an
Yeah.
offer? I briefly spoke about it earlier, but I mean, the majority of FCS, that's what I still call 1AA offers, are occurring from May till probably September or October of you. So from your junior year in May till your senior year, that's when most of the offers are coming through. They're starting to look at kids as a sophomore, but most of the offers are your junior year. FBS level, I mean, you see some kids 8th or 9th grade, those are special kids, but that are either freaky big or freaky fast. But as a rule, they're getting the information on 8th, 9th, and 10th graders, and a lot of their kids start getting offered in the fall of their junior year to the spring of their junior year, all the way through September. So a little faster than FCS, but it just seems like I'm seeing more and more young kids getting offered today. So you definitely need to get out there. All right. What can athletes expect an offer? So I think I kind of just covered that, but
Yep.
Division III is usually, in the middle of the season to the end of this till after the season. But the high academic schools like the NESCAC that was mentioned before, Williams, Amherst, Middlebury, Bowdoin, Wesleyan, all those schools, Hamilton, they're Ivy League schools, but they're Division III, basically. Some people call them the little Ivy League. But the reality is, if their kids don't go early decision, they probably don't get them in. So Division II and NAIA are very similar, that they'll start getting a lot of data on the information on the players during the summer, but most of their offers are not really going out until mid to late season, and that's their senior season. So I think I kind of covered it for
Yep.
the FCS and the FBS already. I don't want to be too repetitive.
Yep. You sure did. And that's typically the timeline, like you're saying. Like we said earlier, college coaches are visiting now because the evaluation period is up. So they're able to come on campus, watch a kid play basketball, or just meet a kid and talk to a coach to discuss, how well they're performing in the classroom, to see if there's any prospects. And so these timelines that coach is talking about and the timeline I gave you really go into place of making sure you're doing the right things to ensure that you're prepared for the summer camps. Summer will be here, real quick, and you got to make sure that you're prepared before you get out there. The other piece is, what do you do during the off season? I don't know if Coach Harvey, are you on right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Coach is going to talk about his program, his organization, and some of the off-season events that he does that will help you get evaluated even further. So go ahead, Coach.
Hey, guys. Hey, thank you, Coach Taylor and Coach Cohen, for adding me to this panel. They're relaying some really important information for you guys as far as your recruiting process goes. And it's definitely a process. So take it all in. Try to enjoy it. Don't get too overwhelmed. But good to have resources and be able to reach out to people like Coach Taylor and Coach Cohen as far as getting some advice on how the process goes. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about Indiana Preps and off-season events. Indiana Preps is a multimedia company based here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We started about in 2013 covering high school football. And what we wanted to do is kind of be the voice of, the underdog per se. We're really close friends with some of the guys at the large industry brands like 24/7 Sports and Rivals. And so, a lot of those those media outlets are going to focus on the high end guys, your Power Five guys, and they're going to write to their, their subscription base, right? And so Indiana Preps found a niche in covering all the state. There's not a real outlet that covers the entire state as a whole. It's usually your local and regional newspaper. And so we wanted to highlight, players of all levels, Division III, NAIA, junior college, and so forth, and just good high school football players, right? Not everybody's a college prospect, and that's okay. And that's another thing that, kids got to come to grip with, parents got to come to grip with, that, high school success doesn't necessarily equate to collegiate football or even scholarship football at that matter. So Indiana Preps, we host off-season showcases and camps. And what's unique about our camps, as Coach Cohen has alluded to, is we invite college coaches to come out to our camps, as well as some of the large media outlets, and as well as ours. And it's an evaluation process, and we typically run our camps during those recruiting windows that Coach was talking about, and those windows are specifically allows the FCSs and below to be able to attend our camps. As you know, the NCAA, or you may not know, the NCAA got away with college Division I college coaches being able to attend third-party camps. So what we've done is we're kind of catering to the FCS and the smaller schools, and it's really worked out for them because everybody wants to go show out for the big schools, and so they've been able. And every year, we've got kids that start out with Division II or NAI or FCS offer, and they end up going somewhere larger. I would say the last year was kind of interesting. Two kids came, and they had a couple smaller FBS schools interested, and one of them had a couple offers, but not much. But now one's headed to Michigan as a DB, 4-star, and the other one's headed to Georgia as a wide receiver, 4-star. And so they both attended my camp last year as 0 stars and just some interest. And so, not that my camp necessarily got them those offers, but their showcase, their skills and their abilities at that camp definitely propelled them into their off season. So,
And Coach,
yes,
those two players played on the same high school team, right?
That's correct as well.
They went to the
they go to
state title.
Northwood High. Yep, Northwood High School. Yep.
Yep. So
Yes,
it
sir.
goes to show you those off-season events do help. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
no, you're fine.
I got to see those two
That was
players
good. Yeah, no,
play this season for
Yeah.
the first time and was amazed.
yeah, no, those are great. Those are great points. And so, why are off-season events important? And that's just events. That goes for showcases. That goes for 7-on-7s. That goes for any opportunity where it's for evaluation. And the thing is, guys, it's all about exposure, right? Coaches have done a real good point of touching on how many kids are actually in the process with you, trying to figure out what is real, what's not real, what's a mass email, what's a mass camp invite, and so you've got to kind of really create a roadmap during the off season of your events, and really set a budget, because it could get really expensive really quickly. And so you just got to kind of take it in as far as the advice that you're receiving tonight, and the advice you may receive from your high school coach on what events to attend and which ones should you not attend, right? And so they're important. The reason why they're important is because college coaches set a budget for off-season evaluation, right? Every college coach in America, D3 to Power 5, has a budget on recruiting specifically during off-season, because the end season is really tough for them, as these guys can allude to as well. They've been college coaches. It's really hard for them to open up any kind of film or tape during the end season. They're busy getting prepared for their own teams and trying to win. So they don't really have time during the end season. A recruiting coordinator might have a little bit of time, but position coaches and the coaches that are really the ones who are going to be making the offers don't really have time during the end season. So off-season events allow you to showcase yourself. Again, whether it's in a space where a lot of coaches are there, or it's your 7-on-7 type environment, and you never know what coaches might be there, because a lot of Big Ten coaches that I run 7-on-7s as well. Their kids play 7-on-7. So I've ran into coaches from Indiana and Ohio State and Illinois because their kids or nephew plays, and it kind of gives them the gray area to kind of attend those events. So you never know who's in the stands at those events. Okay, so it's very important to get out to those and find the right ones. And what I mean by the right ones are the ones that are not money grabs. Okay, there's a lot of camps out there. There's a lot of showcases out there, and there's a lot of events out there that overpromise and underdeliver. And all you're going to do is go home with a T-shirt. So make sure you're not attending those, right?
So Coach, we have a question.
Yeah.
Will 7-on-7 help you get offers from colleges? And I think you just touched it. You never know who's in the audience, but it has to be the right 7-on-7 event. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has to be the right 7-on-7 event, and it has to be you have to be able to what I would do, because again, you never know who's in the audience. If I were attending, and I've had kids, my oldest played at Division I FCS. My middle child, he's playing now at Ball State University, and so then I got a freshman in high school, so I'm gonna go through the process all over again. But it's best to have your parent or whoever coach videotaping you, and it's just like what Coach Cohen was saying. And the other parent that asked, any film is better than no film, right? So if you can put together short clips of your 7-on-7s and you treat it just as you do your high school game tape, right? You make the right cuts of the tape, send those clips out, make sure you're highlighting yourself, and it showcases what you do at your position, and then send those and then include those in all your other material that you send to college coaches. So yes, you can get offers. Will you get offers specifically from 7-on-7? No, but it does help. And like again, if you're at a 7-on-7 like ours, and my guy Steve Wiltfong from 24/7 Sports happens to be there, he's gonna write about you, and then all of a sudden you're gonna take off, right? And so it can happen. It definitely can happen. I've seen it happen. So to answer that question.
Yep. Thanks for joining. Or thanks for answering. Yep, that's a perfect, to understand. So individuals to understand that, if you're doing another sport, great, do the other sport, get videos of you dunking the basketball, running track, or even wrestling if your kid's a wrestler, but no film is not going to help you do something and get yourself out there or any type of off-season events. What would you say when it comes to, some of the people that online are not from Michigan, they're from LA, Texas, Nevada, Vegas, do you do multiple events, meaning 10 or 20 during off season before college camp, or you just need to do a few to kind of get your legs under? What's your recommendation?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Like I said, A, you need to set a budget because it can get expensive. B, you don't want to overexpose yourself, right? You can get embarrassed real quickly, especially if you attend some camps that are combines, right?
Mhm.
And you can, those coaches or those combines might post something that, a test or a measurement that's not really your best. So you guys got to remember, especially as Midwest states, and you guys, high school football season ends around November for most states. Okay, so if you're attending a showcase in January, like my big one is in January, this MLK weekend every year. Okay, now we don't run any 40s, but there are showcases that do. You really have a short window as far as getting prepared, right? So be cautious of if you're going to attend showcases that have those combines, because we also do a combine in December, but it's specifically a combine, and we know and we let you know it's the college day combine. College coaches are going to be there, but you're going to do all combine stuff. So you better prepare. Don't show up out of shape. Don't show up unprepared and not able to run a 40 or know how to run a 40 or know how to run a 5.10.5. Excuse me. So I'll say all of that to say, really try to do maybe one or two off-season events during the winter, just to kind of get your feet under you, especially if you can get in front of a bunch of college coaches right before the spring window. And so, again, the evaluation period is taking place right now. And so all the coaches that went to our event are now seeing all these kids in school as well and seeing them work out and things like that. So I would choose a couple. I'll choose about 2 during the winter, and then from there start working out and getting ready for the summer. Those are the most important camps. Period. I mean, I'm in the business of camps, and our camps are definitely valuable as far as the winter goes. But once you're done with those winter ones, from there on, I'll be preparing for your college camps. And I could talk more. Do you want me to talk more about how to choose college camps?
You can. Let's save that for the segue when we get to April.
Okay.
Because that's kind of the thing I want to get to. So you and I can get on the horn talking about that and some other folks as we start getting prepared for that for our monthly event. All right.
Okay. Got it.
So this won't be the last time we talk together. So
yeah, no, definitely. So I'm just going to run through this list real quick.
Yeah,
let's see.
Go ahead.
So yeah, definitely your combines, your vitals, your measurements, and things like that. Again, some film is better than no film, right? If you can put up a good 40, you feel good. Definitely do that. Use all those that information when communicating with college coaches. Again, competing against quality athletes. We had over 200 some kids at our camp this past Sunday, and several of those kids are going to be Division I Power 5 kids by the end of it all, right? And so you're getting a chance. And my freshman competed, right? He got to see some very, very big linemen and linebackers. He's only 5'5" right now, so he got to see what it's like to be with one of the top running backs in the state, who was also there, who just came fresh off a state championship from Ben Davis High School.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a FCS kid, and he's in the same drills with him, right? And that kid's been a starter at Ben Davis High School, which is one of the largest high schools in Indiana and one of the most accomplished high schools in Indiana. He's been a sophomore. He's been a starter since he was a sophomore. So my son got to see, okay, this is what an elite type of player who plays at an elite type of level in school. And it's a high school, right? So he gets to compete against that. And so also the increased evaluation we offer at our camps. Yeah, at our camps we offer huddle. We record kids, and then we also have partners that also record kids as far as performance tracking goes. So some of our partners will be able to, show how fast a kid can change direction, his start speed, stop speed, his acceleration, and they work directly with the NFL and several Power 5 and Division I schools as well in compiling data and analytics. So we use a lot of different type of testing and data and analytics at our camps. And again, that's just more information for college coaches. College coaches are relying more and more on data because there's very little that can separate you from somebody else, right? You guys can have the same GPA, you could have the same height and weight, same kind of amount of stats, but the vitals, the analytics, the data might be what separates you. And so we offer all our kids those at all of our showcases, and those become very, very important in recent years as far as evaluation for the NFL and college football. And then so with our drills, we do position drills, and everybody loves one-on-ones. So college coaches stick around for all those. And so, college exposure camps are very important to attend, and they definitely should be on everybody's schedule.
Yep, I would agree. Well, that's the end of our, discussions with Coach Cohen, myself, and Coach Harvey. If there's anybody that has any questions, you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. I think there was one about recruiting, if I'm not mistaken, that someone had. You can unmute yourself if you want, or put in the chat box. Oh yeah, Calvin, Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you, Coach Gruz, Coach Cohen. Great panel, great resources as always from Midwest. Yeah, my question, and I joined during the recruiting phase, so I apologize if it's covered already. My son is a junior, and he's starting to get invites for junior days. It feels like more of a mass recruiting than having his actual name. So I'm curious your thoughts on. It's always valuable, obviously, to visit the school and to get that FaceTime. What are your thoughts on junior days?
You know, and so junior days started back in 2000 and I want to say 17, if I'm not mistaken. 18 was one of those things that just came about, and my son was going through it, and he didn't get a lot of invite. We actually told coaches that we were going on a spring break trip, and if we wanted us to stop by, we'll stop by. And sure enough, we went to 3 different colleges all on the East Coast, drove there, put 2,000 miles in the car, and it was great because, you know, he got to see the campus, got to meet the coaches, and so we did it. You know, what Coach Cohen was talking about earlier is mass email, because you do get a lot of mass email from camp visits to, in some cases. But what I've learned from the college coaches that I know, most of their junior days now have been specifically targeted to kids and athletes they believe that they can get into college, you know, and they're attracted to. However, they may not have watched your film. And if you say, okay, we're coming, they're going to watch your film. So I wouldn't say necessarily it's bad that you might have gotten received in mass email, because I'll give you a point. My son got a mass letter from Air Force Academy for junior day. And I was like, all right, we haven't heard from them. Let's go out there and see him. We put his name on the list, said that we were coming. Sure enough, they told us they watched his video. Couldn't believe how big he was in person compared, you know, because sometimes people lie on Huddle that they're 6 foot and they're really 5'10". Okay. So they were very impressed how big it was. They couldn't believe, you know, his Huddle film. They were like, where'd you come out of? But he went to a smaller Catholic school. So we made a big impression on him when he went. Plus, he got an offer from all of the academies. Plus, you know, some of the Patriot League and Ivy League schools. And so with that being said, just because it looks like it's a mass email, doesn't mean that it's a bad look. You should probably just, like he said earlier, target the schools you believe you can play at and do a visit. That's what I would do, because they're definitely very beneficial to visit. And some are doing online, like Columbia. Coach McGoffin, he does he's the O-line coach at Columbia. He does some of his junior days online and gives links to those individuals. So, you know, take it a look and see, does these schools make sense, and make sense that you can think you can play at that level. And I know you're in Texas, is where your son's playing at, but, you know, take a look and see if it doesn't make sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I would echo some of those as well. You know, at first, junior days were more of the mass thing, but I think coaches are starting to kind of, you know, shorten their list of who actually gets invites, because, you know, some kids are not getting those invites, all right, and then some are. And I think what we're seeing now is some of the junior days, they're all potential prospects, and they're going to look at their film or evaluate them, and they want to see them in person. And so what you can tell, again, on a junior day visit is kind of who's in attendance with you as far as prospect goes, and what kind of attention you get and you receive while you're on that visit. And, you know, when there's a coach, when there's a kid there that a coach was really, really interested in, you're going to be able to tell the difference. And then you're also going to be able to tell the difference, you know, on when they do the jersey, the trying on the jersey and the photo shoots type of deal, before that all goes away here soon. You know, sometimes they'll let a kid, you know, go in the locker room and try on the jersey right there in the locker room. Well, then they'll take the other kids that they really want, and there's a whole backdrop, smoke machine. The coaches come in, you're taking pictures with your parents. Those are potential offer kids, or they already have offer kids, and they're going to use that picture and graphic for later, right? So just kind of pay attention to your surroundings as far as that goes, so you understand what's generic and what's authentic. And the other thing is, I mean, like Coach said, heck, if you're out and you just want to see the campus and, create some memories and take in the experience, really. I mean, I took my kids on to college visits that they have no business being on, but it was an experience, right? It's an
Right.
experience. So you just go ahead and enjoy that, but just pay attention. You'll be able to tell what's genuine and what's, they're just being, kind and you're on campus and shaking hands and whatnot, because they're going to pay really, really close attention to the kids they really, really want.
And that's a good point that we both talked about is junior days are here. Spring break's coming up for families. If your child is thinking about playing college football, then maybe you have to postpone that spring break trip to Florida or what a lot of Midwest people go to. Maybe you're taking trips to visit a few colleges so that you get that out of the way and they understand, do they want to do that track and play college football, going to their spring game or spring practice and letting the coaches know, yeah, I can't make it in February for your junior day, but we're going to come out in April, into March, because that's when our spring break is. And they were like, oh, okay, yes, we'll definitely host you. And so you'll find a lot. So that's what we did. But that's what Coach is saying, and I'm saying is that may be a great opportunity to see, those schools and get the opportunity to meet the coaches one-on-one in a less group of people as well. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's speaking?
Hello, everybody. This is Deshaun Meadows.
Oh, what's up, D?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
My question is, what are your thoughts on reclassification? And it's twofold: reclassification, and I mean holding your child back, whether it's in middle school or post graduation. Given the light of everything that's going on right now with the portal, it seems like it's going to suppress. It is suppressing the business, and high school kids. It's going to be much tougher for them to get scholarships in the colleges. So everything's going to be pushed down. So I'm just curious of what you guys think about reclassification.
Harvey, you want to take that, or you want me to take it?
Reclassifying?
Yep, I can. Let me go ahead and you can jump in if you
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, it's more of a basketball thing.
Mhm.
I don't see it as much in football, if at all, especially in Indiana. It's like I said,
It's very prevalent on the West Coast.
Is it really? Yeah, I don't
Yes.
see it. Yeah, I don't see it much. I don't think I've ever seen it in Indiana prior to 8th grade, or I mean after 8th grade.
Correct. You're exactly right.
I'll see it before 8th grade, but I don't see it after that. I don't see it like how you read about kids reclassifying, even jumping classes, like I've been reading. That some of those kids are either A, elite level, and then B, reclassifying in high school or before high school. I don't see it. So I'm really not. I can't really give you a really educated answer on that one, because I just don't see it much here in Indiana. So I don't know, Coach Taylor, if you see it.
Yeah. And he's right, Deshaun. In the Midwest, you don't see it as much as reclassification. You'll see it when an 8th grader gets held back in youth football, so that the parents the kids a little older. You see it a lot in wrestling as well. In that particular sport, what you see in the Midwest is kids going to prep school. There's a lot of prep schools on the East Coast that are taking kids and going there. And some families, I don't know if your son will be 17 when he graduates, but that's what I'm seeing is some families are reclassifying and they have to move to another state. I've seen a few Michigan players, high school players, move to another state that play high school football, not prep school football. And so it gives them the opportunity to go to prep school still, as well as be reclassified. So it's not something that's done, quite frankly, in the Midwest quite a bit. But if it's something that you think is going to give your son an advantage, more than what he's, what's potentially possibly coming, then it's something that you and your family have to make a decision on. But it does happen, as you were aware of it, because if it's happening in the West Coast, it's just not, frowned upon by coaches. If the kid can play, then you know what? They're still going to come after him. That's pretty much it. So hopefully that answers
Understood.
you a little. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, I
it-
think uh, the post grad schools on the East Coast, and then it's not reclassifying, but junior college is really prevalent in the Midwest. So I mean, we don't really get the reclassification issue here.
Mhm.
Totally understood. And the reason why I posed that question is because of so much that's going on with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for these 3 stars, these 2 stars, no star children to get scholarships because coaches are putting ready-made teams together because these kids can play right away, and it's just making it tougher. So I'm thinking that my thought process is that the future is that that's probably going to force more families to think about reclassification in the early years of their children's rearing, just so they're bigger and stronger going into high school.
I would, in some cases, you think that, as well as it may produce more prep schools too. Harvey
Right.
and I ran into a guy that was going to try to start a prep school in the Midwest. I don't think it went anywhere, but for one season. But like Legacy Organization in the Detroit area, they're building a prep school because they feel like there's a need for high school kids to get that transition. I know a
Yep.
D2 school, Davenport, the dude, Sparky McEwen, we played against him at Hillsdale. He basically told an athlete that he's going to the transfer portal. He's going to get the high school kids in January, but he's going to the transfer portal first. That's at the D2 level because he's one who tries to stay up with Grand Valley and the Ferris States of the world. So you're right. It is changing a little bit for certain schools. But ultimately, I think that you as a family have to make the decision of where you believe your kid's going to make. And sometimes you just don't know, when they're coming up, you just don't. So holding them back in the 8th grade, it's probably better than holding it back, their junior or senior year. So that way it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? Prevalent, I guess, or noticeable, when that's being done. But you're right, it probably will happen more and more as the college football landscape which is changing.
I'm seeing a new. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no! What I was just going to say is, with the transfer portal and my college friends that are college coaches at the small school level, and just personally, I've seen it. On a personal level, is the small schools are now being treated as a stepping stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your kid is under recruited, and my kid was, he was under recruited. He got hit with the COVID era, and then the transfer portal really hit. And any other year he would have been an FCS or Group of 5
Yeah.
offer kid, but he wasn't. So he ended up being an NAIA full scholarship kid.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't even take a snap in the fall, and now he's at a Division I school because he transferred. So it's it's very the transfer portal has become very, very unique. Like I said, I know a kid who was under recruited, undersized, played Division III football, played a lot, 2 years in a row, and entered the portal, and now he's getting scholarship money at NAIA school. So it's a two-edged sword, and I don't know if holding kids back or reclassifying is going to really change any of that. I just think it's going to be forever recruiting, and every college coach I talk to, they're busy recruiting their own locker room. So it's ever changing. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. And you hit the nail on the head. They're recruiting their own locker room today. College coaches have a challenge to do that, and that's where it boils down to, how this landscape is changing, and that's kind of why we wanted to kind of give this webinar. I thought about it, and I wanted to give Coach Cohen and Coach Harvey an opportunity because they have a vast following, and so give them opportunity from their experience, what they have heard and seen, and what I've heard and seen. And as parents, we've seen a lot, and it still continues to change. COVID affected a lot of it. And so hopefully you guys found this information. Is there any additional questions that maybe anyone has? hopefully you found this informative enough.
Can I have one more, Coach?
Go ahead.
Okay, so one last question for you guys, and it's getting East Coast for you guys. We're getting semi-interest from the high academics and maybe an Ivy League. However, I think his GPA around a 3.75-ish. And by the end, maybe by senior year, he'll probably have 6, maybe 7, we'll say 6 AP classes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even enough to be qualified for an Ivy League? Is it? I don't want to
Yep.
waste any coach's time, any
Yep,
school's
it
time.
is.
But probably in a C band, maybe in a B band, if that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the lowest band is a D band, but long story short, 3.5, 25 ACT. So 3.5 GPA, 25 ACT is where they can play one player with that particular qualifications. So if you got a 3.7, at a minimum, they're gonna look at you. If some of the schools are requiring ACT, SAT, but a lot are not. And when it comes to the Ivy League schools, and what they're doing is looking at your AP courses and how well you perform, how well the high schools perform. So, he's not wasting anybody's time by having a 3.7. Do they want a higher GPA? Yes, receivers are a critical piece of today's offense. And so having that GPA of 3.7, he's definitely going to go get looked at by the little Ivies and the big Ivies, just to see how well he performed. It's all about now is his measurables. Because how does it look on film? Is he, if he's not getting too much playing time his junior year because he was behind a senior, what's the expectations in the fall? And so what camps will be critical for him to attend? You're in California, maybe it makes sense for you to see those guys out in California first to see if there's any interest beforehand, before you make that trip all the way to the East Coast, to meet those coaches. So those things that we can help you with to decide, as Harvey was saying earlier, we can tell you what camps to go to for colleges, what makes sense based on your athletic ability. So that way you make the right decision. And you don't have to make the decision, in April. As long as you have a plan by the mid-May, then you're good to go, and have your, what we call camp schedule. Okay.
no, that's perfect. That actually answers the question.
Okay.
Come on, perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, between the three heads of ours, we have a lot of knowledge that hopefully will rub off to you guys. And if, like we said, if you ever needed support, I'm always available for those who know me. Get Recruiters right there with Coach Cohen. He's available, knows coaches as well that maybe I don't know. So you can always reach out. He is offering to review your huddle film, from his experience, and have his guys review it to see what should be improved. Or, and I've always told people, less is more. You don't always have to have a 12-minute huddle film, but if your film is 2 minutes or 4 minutes and makes them salivating for wanting more, absolutely. It's going to make them, want you more and want to see you more, especially on campus, doing 7-on-7, running track, dunking the basketball, playing basketball, or any other event that you may be doing in the off season. I don't know if Harvey, for those who are in the Midwest, do you have a list of showcases that you have coming up, or events that you're going to be at in the next month or two?
Yeah, if you want to check out our events that we have coming up this offseason, indianashowcase.com.
There you go. Okay. Are there any other questions? And we're not rushing. I got time. It's early for me. Okay. Well, it looks like there's 2 in the chat, but maybe that was, oh, you put it in the chat. Great. Okay, Susan, great. I'm grateful that you thought it was informative. Like we said, you can reach out to any of us 3 to help support you. In most cases, I may see several of you throughout this year. I will be traveling, it looks like, for my regular job to the West Coast as well as to Texas in the next 2 months before really summer camp. So hopefully I'll be able to stop by and break bread with you and chat it up. If not, like I said, you got the 3 individuals from Get Recruited, Coach Cohen, Indiana Preps, Coach Harvey. His showcases are wonderful. And you can also follow us on Indiana Preps, as well as you can follow us on Twitter. And if you don't mind, retweet this out to let people know that you thought it was informative on Twitter, that would help, and continue to get us evaluated so that we know what we're doing is helping the community out and paying it forward. So, all right, with that being said, I appreciate everyone joining. And if you visit our YouTube page, this will be up on YouTube at some point in time in the next day or so. And if you want to rewatch it, everyone have a blessed night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.